Not live yet, but it's just warming up.
Suit jacket or whatever.
About it.
As you see, Claire's not here, she's unwell, so.
What's that?
Claire's not well.
No.
Claire.
Send her our regards.
Yeah, please send.
Send her our regards.
Yes, please do.
Responding, please wait, someone waiting.
Must be one of the more hateful things that appears in your computer, isn't it? For free, yeah.
Is it me? Always.
I mean, if you don't want to go to a meeting, it's a good excuse, but most of it I'm really irritated.
It's your laptop.
One of the newer ones.
Oh.
So,
It's working. I've got. Come on.
no, it's
No, the Wi-Fi is okay.
We missed one.
Did I really?
yeah, well,
Marvellous.
Wi-Fi's on, but we're not broadcasting.
What I missed? I'll just signature on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Will we do without correction, so?
That's why you have two people doing it rather than just one. But one of
There's
them.
always me which being corrected.
You see on your phone.
I've had it a number of times working it. You're not the only one who's done that.
Good if you drive over that.
What you seeing on your phone? You took it wherever.
No, I said I've got Wi-Fi on it. I'll have a look and see if it's come up for a live.
Wrong side of the
Yeah, but you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
So,
I can come up, yeah.
Page at the moment.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I'll come out of it for that. No.
Bottom one. Yeah.
It says we're live.
Fine. Not showing on here.
Mm.
Think we're live, go for it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a start.
What is it?
hopefully.
No, it isn't. It's frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen, yeah. We're not moving.
Let it go.
Not like they can do that. Lots of anti-cold in there.
Cultural references.
Well, actually, we've got none of us have moved. Apparently, we're all still sat in the same places on this here anyway. Time is frozen and we're sat in a parallel universe. We're not really here at all.
Yeah.
I say let's just get started.
Bring it up to now, see.
No, I've logged out. I've logged out to try again, so.
Three way.
Not too many minutes.
No, if you can just get in now, it'd be worth it. Otherwise, that's.
Legal requirement to broadcast it, first three agenda items are pretty standard anyway.
There isn't, and to be honest, we've done it before where it hasn't been.
Yeah, but it is counted in respect to rebroadcast all meetings.
Yeah.
So we are not accounted.
We can't log in, I'm afraid.
Well, that's it. Try. We're all witness to you try.
Or he's still trying.
No, it's just frozen.
Okay, all right, I think we start if that's all right with everybody. Yeah. Welcome to tonight's resources meeting. Right, do we have anybody from the public that? Thank you. Thanks, Paula.
I'm just looking.
We may be live streaming because it says I can stop, but it doesn't let me start, so it may be that we are.
Yes, okay. Right, any declarations of interest from anybody? No? Yes.
You missed apologies for absence, mate.
Oh dear, thank you. Apologies.
From councillor Ossibogan and councillor Try.
Thank you. Happy to accept those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Declaration of interest. Minutes of last meeting. Okay.
Yeah, one thing I'm a bit unclear about, it says councillor, I can't from the minutes deduce what it is. Councillor Harvey asked the Shire councillors to follow his questions raised. Councillor Newcombe, the chair, explained that it's not on the agenda item, suggesting it was discussed with the Shire council. I've got no idea what that was about or what it was. Councillor Harvey wanted us to follow up in the minutes, so whether Councillor Harvey can help me with that. It's just after 202 Drove.
I can tell you what it was.
If you don't mind, John.
Yeah, it was to do with the discussion about whether the Shire Council have bothered to respond, well, they haven't bothered to respond to my email with regards to triangulating the businesses that claimed support during the COVID period and those who pay council tax. Because I have a friend who lives in South Oxfordshire, councillor friend, who said that when they did that, they saved, they made lots of money for the council because quite a few businesses claimed support but weren't paying their council tax. And I've been raising this, and Robert and Andy have both been taking this forward, but still with no response.
And still no response.
And I frankly find that just crazy. We've got here an income stream that could be being overlooked, and they've got the hard data to prove that these businesses exist or certainly existed then. They should be paying their money like everybody else does. Pay your council tax, pay your business rates.
Yeah. Right, thank you. And yeah,
That's what the item was about.
thanks, John.
In which case, just very briefly, I did follow up with the chair of the Budget Standards Committee, Councillor Newcombe, and he did write back to me twice saying that he had forwarded it to the auditor, and I don't think he got any response to that either.
If you can send it me again, John, I think I'll go a different route this time.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll send you both.
See if we can.
Yeah.
A pinch of movement might actually.
The
Yeah.
fact that it's just I've got no recollection what that was, and I just needed to clarify because it was something that we were left to do. I've got another route into that, but that might be just as unsuccessful.
Oh, might not be.
Might not be.
Well, it goes direct to the ones you know, so.
Can you say what number it was on the minutes again for me?
R/02/24.
It is money, and they're short of money, so
I mean, the minute's not incorrect, it's just a bit of leak.
yeah, that's all. I couldn't work it out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering then whether, because the public have to be able to understand our minutes if they aren't able to watch a meeting. So I'm wondering if some more information needs adding.
We can say regarding the payment of business rates, even at that.
I propose if that's agreeable that we just add that to the minute before we approve it.
Yeah, what do members think? Are we happy with that? Because the public have got to understand our minutes.
I think it should be added.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No-brainer.
all right, can we have a show of hands then to add that? Thank you. And then.
Can I just be clear on what the amendment is then to add, please, the wording?
John,
Well, with councillor Newcombe regarding the payment of business rates.
Thank you.
and then once that gets added to them, are we happy to accept those minutes? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Robin, because you're absolutely right. The public have got to understand them. If we can't understand them and we're sitting in a meeting, right, yeah.
That's why I went to John, because I knew he'd know what he said.
I don't always know what I said, but we know.
Show of hands on the accept of the minutes as amended then, please.
That's unanimous, thank you. Right, item 4, budgets. So we've got 5.1 detailed income and expenditure, and it's A. I will go. Oh, my thing's not working. It's not working. Right, so I'll go by the numbers in the top left-hand corner. page 3 of 17. Page 4. Five. Six. Seven. Eight. Nine.
That's not, I think, I was sorting, that the one, with the, yeah, what's one more the question on it was, scared, which one you on, 8?
Nine at the moment. But you can go back
Yeah,
to
it's
eight.
better 8, it was, I was on the wrong page.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to make comment on 9, actually, it was to verify, no, I reckon if I come down, so,
No, page 8 or 9?
9.
9, thank you.
It was an 8, but it's actually on 9.
No.
It's sort of showing that, which is positive, that if this is, the flea market's doing extremely well, compared to what we thought it was going to do, and it's also showing that the market, is holding its own up, which is income from the year, and, from that's before we get the, increase on the council, on the actual rate. That's really sort of something positive. It's one of the few income streams we got in the council, but worth noting that market managers obviously and the staff are doing a good job in running that, really, bringing in income. It's always good to pick these things up when you've got a positive once.
Definitely. Right, I've got a question, Steve. I don't know if you can know the answer to it, so you might have to come back to next meeting.
So I'll be on page 9 still.
Well, I'm not really sure where it would sit, so I was going to ask. So some of our events, some of the stallholders will give money for the mayor's charities. So I think that the ice cream man did for at the dog show. Where does that show?
That won't show on these accounts at all because the Little Mayor's charity account is a separate account.
Okay, so will that be like for council's budgets?
So that doesn't show in any of our accounts because it has to be kept legally separate. I don't know whether this council reports it annually to full council. Matt might know.
I get regular statements from that account to know what has been received.
Okay.
And obviously, we know by the time mayor making comes around, because then the mayor, in this case, the outgoing mayor, is able to dispense that money to the chosen charities. But that as a council, I think is the only, because it's not council business really. And it's not council money, therefore it doesn't get reported to council in any other form, is certainly what I saw in that.
That's my recollection.
Yeah, that seems correct as well to me.
Yeah, it's a good, on the history of that account was Paul, and he set it up when I was doing a job, and the reason was that we got a very large overdraft in our house, and any money going into your personal account just disappear into your overdraft. So it was sort of, Paul has set it up to keep mail things separate from your house things, and set up an account for me, and she set it all up and did it there and then. So she also set me another account up to pay the allowance into, so that I've got it separate from the house things, which was really quite useful.
I think things have moved on a little
I
bit.
know, but that's it,
Um,
it was a good thing, and I don't
Yeah.
recall ever having to report back about what I'd done with it.
No, and the question wasn't about you when you were mayor and what you did with any money, it was about money that's given in by stallholders when they offer some money to mayor's charities, which if it was written down anywhere, and it is.
As I said,
Thank you.
Jody sees it and the mayor sees it.
Thank you very much. Howard?
It's legally has to be kept separate
Yes.
because the money spent, it's money spent basically for the precept.
Mm.
It's the taxpayers' revenue. The donations, their charity is a donation, it's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with the precept.
Right, thank you. Page 10 of 17. John?
Yeah, just looking at the earmark reserves. What's the, what's it called? Making good / boundary reg.
So that's a reserve for if we have any boundary fencing or walls that we need to repair.
Oh, right.
So for example, the cemetery wall may come to that. If we didn't have a several reserve for the new cemetery, the fencing that's about to be done on that.
Yeah.
But that potentially could come into that in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Robin?
I just to note, we had a discussion about twinning at the entering council, the last sort council. Just to note that if you look there in the earmark reserves, which is unclear at the meeting, you'll notice that the twinning earmark reserves, it says there's £2,483 in that. Just to note, because comments were made about when we agreed to the other thing, just to note that money was in there. And just to note that as the charter fair has just gone through, those earmark reserves in the charter fair are in case we have an extraordinary bill for the charter fair without having to come back to council. They sit wise under the event. So they just sat there. Then they're what's been accrued over so far over the life of the contract. But you never know if you have an extra large bill come in, but Buckinghamshire Council have seemed to have radically raised the cost of what it was under Buckinghamshire County Council for removal stuff, and imagine that's going to change.
Yeah. Thanks. Right, appendix B, so we've got purchase ledger from September and October. So page 11. Page 12. 13. 14. What is that? Item 5 is fund transfers, there haven't been any. So we're happy to note that.
Yeah.
Noted. Item 6, quarterly banking reconciliations, and Steve.
So this is just to report that the vice chair has been signed and inspected accordingly, which I'm sure he could confirm.
Yeah, thank you.
That's my report.
Very commendable.
Thank you. Item 7, to note that the IFO there's immediate payment £132.25 to the grounds supervisor. Are we happy to note that?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 8, cemetery financial regulations and standing orders update. So we've got a report from Steve.
So this is in relation to the cemetery allotments tender, as it says. Members will know that the regulations over tenders and how we deal with them are in various sections of the standing orders and financial regulations. However, the work to be done to consider the tenders for this particular project is particularly complex and outside the knowledge and skill of officers, and so officers feel that it would be more appropriate for tenders to be sent to our consultants and their subcontractors to be received and to be analysed and reviewed, and for them to make a recommendation to full council to then accept or otherwise their recommended tender. You'll see from the report that a scoring spec and the tender list of what is required will be brought through to full council. This lists the standing orders and financial regs that require varying for the purposes of this, which is listed in section 3, the council does have the power to change these. None of these are statutory requirements. And it's made clear right at the end, this is just for this project only.
I understand the reason for doing it, but apart from when it goes to council, which is 2.5, doesn't say anywhere where, I don't need to see these, but the chair and the mayor probably should see these, or be include, no, not to influence them, but to know what the figures are and what they are, because when it comes to council, they don't need to be involved in the work of it, but they have a responsibility to understand what that figure relates to, and they should be aware of what the allotted work applied to. So it doesn't say it in there. It doesn't say that it will be. It only states that it will go to council. It means that the committee, which the budget will fall under, it's full council budget, but it will fall under the Environment Committee, which means that I would just want some words added in there that somewhere along, perhaps after council.
If I may interject,
Yeah.
the cemetery is a full council project. And the financial regs that Stapley does written require tenders to go through full council. So this is just a variation of that for this one item.
So if I got your question right, are you meaning when the tenders are opened and
Yeah.
there needs to be, because I have been into the office when we went through a tender process.
Yeah.
This is just the specification and scoring. This isn't for the actual, but I do know where you're coming from. So what I've been saying is that when the tenders are being opened, that the mayor or chair of that committee should be there.
That's what we're requesting to vary. That is currently what happens is there must be the proper officer and at least one councillor.
Yeah.
And that is what we're looking to vary, so that it goes directly to the professional contractor to do.
Right.
Because it needs to be opened and considered in closed session. I don't know what phrases.
Okay. Mayor.
I understand the need for an expert view on this, because clearly these need to be looked at by somebody who knows what they're talking about and what they're looking for. In the interest of a fair tendering process, I wonder whether we could add an element, so at least we know, or somebody is there when they first are open, so we know how many were received and who from. That doesn't require any particular knowledge or expertise, or indeed a great amount of time, but I'm kind of reading the room that might be desirable as a witness more than anything else, and I wonder whether that could be built into the process.
Because I don't feel comfortable changing that bit, because it's always been the mayor or chair of that committee that it falls under, which would be the same person in this instance. Personally, I don't feel comfortable not having that in there, but I'll take John.
I'm not wild about this, I have to say. I mean, I fully appreciate what you say, Steve, about having some expert advice on appraising the tenders.
Absolutely.
I can see that, but I don't quite get why the financial regulations need to be changed in order to facilitate that. I mean, any decision that's made by officers, or in advance of decisions made around this table, then you can call in consultants, experts, and advise all that. I don't see why the process itself needs to be somehow outsourced when we've got competent people who can be present. But even if it's only sort of I mean, I don't like the idea of tenders going to some other place, because we know and we can trust our officers who are independent and everything else. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what the address is. Is it someone in Inverness or Cardiff or wherever? It doesn't feel right to me that we need to amend regulations, standing orders you know, by all means, I think it's worthwhile to bring in the expertise. So, you know, giving it to them, saying, but having made notes of what they've come from and what the actual board details are. Copies can be given to the consultant to prepare a report. But I think the originals and the process should be the same.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Steve, I don't agree with this.
Can I add,
You can.
absolutely, I reckon it's clearly for members to decide. The company is the CDS who are consultants for the cemetery as a whole, so they're the ones that have been working on this anyway and have been appointed by the council to do everything else so far. And as I say, the actual requirements of the tender and the scoring of those will be agreed with full council anyway.
Fran,
I think that I'm like several of the speakers, feel a bit of disquiet at this, really. My immediate thought was how will we know that they're not giving the contract to their mates, which is the whole point of the tendering process, of how we do it, is to ensure impartiality in it. And so to put it straight out with the tenders going to a consultant without coming through the office seems to me to be a little bit laying ourselves open for problems.
well, I'll take Howard and the mayor, and then we're gonna take some and then Jane, and then we're gonna add some words, I think, to these, so.
At the end of the day, we are responsible for money, and ratepayers' money. And if anything goes wrong, the first call is the council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we should have due process and be able to traceability in that. And if we're not there at the opening of the tenders, it does give people the ability to say, well, something on the hand went on.
Yeah.
Even if we don't understand the technical aspects, and that's why we employ consultants. We should have an overview of what is going on at every stage of the process. It's normal on council that happens. But I also accept that we obviously do need technical experts, none of us are experts in groundworks any more than we are in building cemeteries.
Absolutely,
And
and
take advice.
yeah, and Lee has said that it's above his knowledge, that is why we need to get in. But so we'll take the mayor, Jane, and then we're gonna go for some extra words. And Robin, you've already spoken once, I just want to give other people, just the mayor and then Jane, please.
Yeah, I don't need to speak. I think most of the things I wanted to say have been said.
Okay, thank you, Jane.
I'm just wondering whether, I mean, are we being a bit stagecoach-ier about this? I don't know, when a tender turns up these days, is it an envelope that comes into the room and you open it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not digital, on Zoom,
No,
No,
can't open the envelope at the other end on Zoom?
No.
Okay, right, just a thought.
Old fashioned envelope, then
I absolutely agree with the principle that we should be there, it's absolutely our responsibility. I'm just wondering whether there's a, I know there's a good reason why Steve would have suggested it, and I just wonder whether that was it. Thank you.
Robin, have you got any
yeah, I
words?
just say, please, that I wasn't the only one who thought that this was odd. How would we get to a formal word around it? Is, I would imagine
Steve.
that we need help with a formal word so that we can actually make sure that the council, being the elected members, are covered in this, because in the end, if it all goes pear-shaped, it won't be the officers who be questioned, the same way that
Yes.
the councillors will be questioned.
Right, Steve.
Members should simply vote against the recommendation. You
Okay,
don't need any additional words, it's just a case of voting against.
okay, members of
Can it be minuted that we have no issue
yeah, with
with the seeking professional advice on
Yes.
these tenders? However, we don't believe that the tendering process should bypass the council in this way.
yeah, definitely, no,
I agree with that. I would actually prefer, even if we minutely said that we specifically want expert advice to
Yeah.
be sought on this one, because it is very important we get expert advice, but it be done in such a way that we follow the formalities of our normal process, in the sense of the, the tenders coming to the office, being open in the office, and then consultants can have copies
Yeah.
or something along those lines. I'm sure you can come up with a process that will work. But I think it's really important that this council notes that it wants expert advice on this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would think that the consultants having blind copies of these would be pertinent, really, so they don't actually know what companies these contracts are coming from. Because that's the way we do it when we vote on things, don't we? We have company A being company C with the detail of their bid. We don't know which companies they come from when we take those votes, do we?
They're wide.
Well,
Yeah,
because-
we
because-
did change it some, I know that because we did, didn't we, Robin, we had, because there was an issue over that you could get a good bid in that looked favourable, but somebody had knowledge, that company, it's with this being so technical,
Yeah,
I wonder whether it'd be good for the consultants to know who has put in the tenders, because they are in that remit of knowledge that we're not in. So I wouldn't be comfortable having that as a thing, but I think to have the consultants' technical advice is wanted, but they have to come through the office. Are you okay with all of that, Paula, to be minuted? Thank you. Right, so can we take a vote on, again?
I propose that we reject this recommendation.
Thank you, and all those who agree for
We
rejecting
need
this
a second.
recommendation.
Needs to be seconded.
Oh,
I'm happy to second it.
thank you, Mayor. Everybody show hands for agreeing to reject this recommendation. That is unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody.
And could I just ask for a vote that we are, you've abandoned that idea of having a blind.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
have, yeah.
it's dangerous, yeah. Thank you.
But we'll note that you specifically, said to see.
Yeah, yes, and thank you for preparing the report and the thought that has gone into it.
Yeah,
Can we
definitely.
please minute that as well?
Of course,
Yeah.
specifically there for members to make their own decision.
Absolutely, that is vitally important. We are the ones elected into positions. So thank you. Right, so we are on
No.
updates from reps on outside bodies. So do we have anybody on an outside body that they would like to update members on anything particular?
No.
No? Action report, appendix C. Very short.
Yeah, very short.
Noted.
No.
No, please.
Thank you. I don't have any shares announcements. Take the next meeting, Monday, 9th of December. And are members happy to go into a private session?
Agree.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Probably a show of hands. I knew you would say that. Thank